Hello guys, back again with the Alrasta channel, and this time, as always, we will be back to talk about the best Donghua series, and of course, it is SwallowedStar. In the previous episode, we saw Luo Feng, who became a target because he was considered the one who had redeemed the first treasure code of the Crystal Ball Inheritance, which became the first order treasure in the Blue Castle treasure list. Luo Feng, who was being targeted by the Imperial forces in collaboration with the White Tiger Tower organization and Nolan's group, had to accept the ambush. Although they managed to pass the ambush that occurred by utilizing the spaceship prepared by Babata, unfortunately, in that incident, Tianan had to be killed after trying to save Luo Feng from danger and sacrificing himself. Then what happened next? Okay, without delay, let's go straight to the storyline. After Luo Feng and his team were no longer being targeted by the Empire, Babata took them to a safe hiding location. The location of the forest, which was dotted with tall mushroom-shaped plants, was on the edge of the boundary of the world within the world. The reason why this place was suitable as a hiding place was because there were no boundary ore mines or anything valuable there. Even if their whereabouts were known, the enemy would also be unlikely to be able to carry out an ambush like before. But Hong said, hiding like they were doing now was only temporary. After all, they had to have the means to be able to match the enemy's strength, and the key was in the evolution of the rubbed cloud rattan. And then, shortly after, Luo Feng took out a suitcase containing the fruit of life, a treasure that was able to increase the level of the rubbed cloud rattan quickly. Right when the treasure came out of the case, the fruit of life flew by itself as if it had its own will. Until finally Luo Feng's plant stalks managed to catch it and then began to absorb the essence contained in the fruit. As soon as the stalks of the rubbed cloud rattan absorbed the extremely pure essence of the fruit of life, the effects could be seen immediately. Luo Feng's rubbed cloud rattan stalks began to grow elongated, stretched in the air, and penetrated the ground along with branches that began to multiply more than before. In the midst of the process that is still not fully completed, Luo Feng found out that the shape of the rubbed cloud rattan has experienced a very rapid development. The stalk has increased to 72 pieces, while its length can stretch up to 210 kilometers. In the midst of the good news, Gaia suddenly made a call. With her body covered in wounds, she gave the news that the northern Dragon City side had been attacked by the Black Dragon Mountain Imperial Martial Organization that cooperated with the White Tiger Tower and Nolanshan, and then the call was cut off suddenly. Babata, who immediately understood Luo Feng's next action, immediately said that Luo Feng and his team had just escaped from the same opponent's ambush. Out of 5 people, 1 was injured and 1 was killed. Obviously, if Luo Feng and the others intended to provide help to Gaia, it would be the same as them delivering their own lives. Moreover, rubbed cloud rattan was still in the middle of the evolutionary stage and hadn't broken through the universe level. But still, Luo Feng, who already regarded Gaia as a comrade in arms, would not remain silent to see his colleague die just like that. In this case, Hong, as well as the Thunder God, even gave Luo Feng the full decision. Whatever choice Luo Feng made in this case, both of them would agree to it. And as usual, Babata could not stop Luo Feng's determination to provide help to Gaia. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we are shown the aftermath of a sizable battle. The bodies of the warriors from the northern Dragon City were seen scattered around the area. But among those who had died, there was still one person who was still breathing, and she was Gaia. But this woman's condition was not so good. Not only was she badly injured, but she was also now confronted by Guishi, who asked Gaia to immediately hand over the password to the Crystal Ball Inheritance. Guishi promised that he wouldn't make Gaia suffer any more than this. But even though Gaia was already in a dying condition and surrounded by many enemy fighters, even if he had to die, he would never give up the crystal ball inheritance password as Guishi wanted. He even said swear words to the opponent, who had killed many people from the Northern Dragon City organization, as well as killed this woman's lover, Hook. Guishi moved towards the dying woman, whispering to her that Guishi was curious about how Gaia would carry out her revenge. Even though at the time of Hook's death, Gaia could only watch Hook die at Guishi's hands without being able to do anything. Of course, that was a very painful fact for Gaia. With a face filled with rage, Gaia again said that Guishi would sooner or later meet death, and that his body would be broken into pieces. What Guishi had done, and all those who were with her, would receive a tragic end. After a brief conversation between the two of them, Guishi then ordered his men to immediately execute Gaia. But just as they moved towards her for the execution strike, they were immediately knocked down by the appearance of a rubbed cloud rattan stalk that emerged from beneath the ground and quickly carried Gaia's dying body away from the scene. Not to be deterred, Guishi and the rest of his team set off in pursuit. The rubbed cloud rattan stalk carrying Gaia's body was definitely Luo Feng's. He managed to do his job quite well, even though Gaia's condition looked very critical. Previously, in Gaia's rescue action, Luo Feng himself used the rubbed cloud rattan combined with a red copper flying weapon so that it could dig a hole at high speed. But because Luo Feng had just used one of the 72 grape stalks to save Gaia, it made for an uneven distribution of energy from the absorption of the fruit of life essence, whose process was still unfinished. Shortly after, the rumbling sounds of the enemy's movement could be heard in Luo Feng and his team's ears, signaling that the enemy would soon be there. While here, Luo Feng was forced to complete the evolutionary stage of his cloud rattan wine before the enemy arrived. But the problem was solved because Hong had a rubbed cloud rattan that could transfer energy to Luo Feng's rubbed cloud rattan. It was fortunate that Luo Feng managed to complete the rubbed cloud rattan evolution before the enemy arrived. After waiting for a while, the enemies finally arrived. They moved through the path created by the previous rubbed cloud rattan stalk. Qiu Yu, who saw Luo Feng in the other direction, immediately smiled. He seemed to feel confident that Luo Feng could be easily eliminated this time, considering that he was now with thousands of powerful warriors. But the enemy didn't know that Luo Feng had actually prepared a terrible trap, where Luo Feng had placed rubbed cloud rattan stalks that had broken through the second-level universe level around the area. It became a surprise attack that the opponent had never thought of. And this was where the beginning of the slaughter and revenge would begin. The rubbed cloud rattan stalks surrounding the enemy aggressively carried out a massive attack, which tore apart the enemy Three Alliances formation so horribly. The terrain that is not so wide is also an obstacle for the enemies to be able to avoid the pursuit of this one plant. Several people from the Empire who were holding destructive laser weapons tried to make an attack. Although the shots could deal damage to Luo Feng's rubbed cloud rattan, they had to target the same part if they wanted to completely destroy it. Of course, in such a chaotic situation, it would be very difficult to realize. Not allowing the opponent's threats to thwart Luo Feng's plans, Hong and Thunder God went into action. The two of them used domain skills to restrict the movement of the destructive laser weapon holders, while the execution part was left to Aogo, who flew the red copper weapon, then tore the opponent apart inside the combination domain. On the other hand, Guishi, along with his three members, moved to dodge every stalk of the rubbed cloud rattan that was heading towards Luo Feng and targeting him. Guishi tried to attack the plant owner to stop Luo Feng's attack. As protection, Luo Feng used the rubbed cloud rattan that snaked around him, forming a ball. The method was quite effective because after the enemy shot was fired, the plant could not be destroyed easily. From here, the enemy realized that Luo Feng's rubbed cloud rattan plant had reached the universe level. After receiving several attacks at the same place, several stalks had to be destroyed. The moment would be utilized by Chu Yu, who would attack Luo Feng, who had been seen directly. Although Luo Feng's plants had reached the level of the universe, not Luo Feng's physical body, that was Chu Yu's assumption with his too narrow thinking. Before the horned alien approached, Luo Feng sent out 6 rubbed cloud rattan stalks and easily penetrated Chu Yu's body defense, which simultaneously entangled him. Thus, he would never be able to escape again. Chu Yu was brutally attacked, and his body was crushed as he was continuously slammed by the plant. Chu Yu finally died a horrible death when rubbed cloud rattan through his body, which was stuck on a large thorn. It was the same with Guishi, who couldn't escape the pursuit of Cloud's rubbed rattan stalks. After a few stalks pierced to joints, Luo Feng asked if Guishi knew who Tianan was, who was previously killed by the man. While enduring the pain, Guishi replied that Tianan was just a slave, so he deserved his death. Luo Feng, who was furious, said that Tianan was his partner, and at the same time, Luo Feng also used the rubbed cloud rattan stalk that entangled Guishi's body to break and twist his legs. Guishi could only scream in pain when enduring the attack, and as an execution, Luo Feng used Tianan's sword to release a vertical slash, splitting Guishi's body into 2 pieces. The 3 parties that formed an alliance in the end were completely leveled by Luo Feng and his team. Sticking the great sword on the ground, Luo Feng cried and said that now he had succeeded in avenging Tianan's death. On the other hand, the god of thunder who tried to heal Gaia was panicked because the wood crystal that was previously used to restore Augo didn't even work on Gaia. Unlike Augo, Gaia's own body had been integrated with mechanical evolution, and now the mechanical part that sustained her life was damaged, which is why the wood crystal didn't work on her. Before her death, Gaia shared a fact that was quite astonishing. She apologized to Luo Feng because, in fact, she already knew that the 9th princess was targeting the inheritance of the crystal ball. So before that, she deliberately let Luo Feng out of the blue castle first, so that the enemy thought that Luo Feng was the one who had exchanged the first treasure. And at that time, Luo Feng was used as a diversion by her to avoid an ambush by the Empire. Luo Feng, who was only used as bait at that time, now asked Gaia not to talk much anymore, because everything was now over. And if she talked too much, she would only die faster. Gaia expressed her opinion that for her, the law of the jungle applied in the universe, but Luo Feng and the others who were Earthlings were very different from the warriors in the universe. The crystal ball inheritance was a treasure stored inside the first bank in the universe, which contained space methods coveted by many warriors. The treasure can only be unlocked by using 3 sets of passwords, and each password is worth 10 million boundary ore, making it the most expensive treasure that can be obtained inside the Blue Castle. The strongest person of the Northern Dragon City in this place had already been killed in the previous raid, and now the Crystal Ball inheritance password held by Gaia would be handed over to Luo Feng to prevent it from falling into the hands of the 9th princess. Right after the woman handed over the first password to Luo Feng, she immediately died. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the ninth princess, who could not get the inherited crystal ball, was angry and killed one of her own servants to vent her anger. Moreover, in the plan she executed, Guishi and Chu Yu were killed. What upset him even more was the whereabouts of Luo Feng, whose coordinates could not be found. Although it was known that the massacre that occurred was located around the southwest area of the world's edge, the exact location was still unknown. Since Luo Feng's position could not be found, Nolan San had an idea. They only needed to broadcast the news that Luo Feng was the one who had brought the first password to the inherited crystal ball. By doing so, Luo Feng would automatically become the target of all parties. The scene switched to Luo Feng's place, where he got the news from Ming Yu. If Luo Feng's possession of the first password had spread everywhere, it was likely that he would be targeted by warriors from other organizations, as well as from non-organization parts. But not with Three Axes Mountain, because they had previously formed an alliance with Northern Dragon City to be able to bring back the first password together. So for now, Luo Feng had to take the first password home with him and head towards the organization's base station. Luo Feng was also sent the coordinates of the Black Dragon Mountain base station, and Ming Yu would send someone to meet Luo Feng there. But there was a problem in this, because in order to reach the destination, Luo Feng had to go through the Imperial Marshal Team's base. If Luo Feng surfaced, it was clear that he would be immediately surrounded by the enemy. Giving a bit of advice, Ming Yu said that the path to gaining strength rested on the will to survive, and hundreds of thousands of star-level warriors were now buried in the underworld. And if Luo Feng died in that place, the cycle of fighting over the password would, of course, continue. But that would be the end of Luo Feng's journey in life. So Luo Feng's life henceforth was about how he could solve the problem this time. Then can Luo Feng and his team get out of the Thunderworld safely? Then just look forward to the next episode, because this 118th episode is over, guys. Okay, thank you to those of you who have watched until the end. Don't forget to support this channel with likes, comments, and subscribes. And the last word from me, bye.